All right, good morning. Y'all ready to go buck wild? Yes. All right. My name is Emily Griffith. I'm the founder and CEO of Lil Buck's America's Buckwheat brand. We make crunchy snacks and super seed toppings from the nutrient-dense fruit seed sourced from regenerative organic farms in the Midwest. Our mission is to make America fall in love with buckwheat. So not only to improve our diets, but to give farmers a financial incentive to grow this amazing cover crop that improves soil health. I'm not nervous. Our story starts by the beach in Sydney, Australia, where I had a life-changing acai bowl. This bowl was so amazing because the cafe used sprouted buckwheat instead of your typical sugary granola as the topping on the bowl. I was immediately obsessed with the texture, the addictive crunch of the seeds, but then on top of that, how amazing I felt after eating it. That turns out it's because buckwheat is naturally high. It's a complete amino acid, plant-based protein. It's high in protein and fiber, and it's naturally gluten and grain-free. I started eating it every day as a topping on smoothies, oatmeal, yogurt, salads, you name it, and noticed it was used as a feature, if not hero ingredient, in a few CPG products down under. I eventually was moving back to the US for some boy I liked, who's now my husband. But obviously I needed to get my buckwheat fix. And I was shocked that no brand in the US was focused on this amazing, nutritious superfood that's not only good for human health, but soil health. And on top of that, it grows really well in northern parts of the US. And farmers, organic farmers, really want to grow more of it. So through this research, I really felt I was literally put on earth to make America fall in love with buckwheat. Oh yes, I started in farmers markets in Chicago in 2018. And since then, we just passed 1 million in all-time revenue, and we're proudly approaching a $1 million annual run rate month over month. We have scaled manufacturing in place. And I'm also deeply proud to share that we're one of the first brands to have a product line that is regenerative organic certified. Yes. Thank you. It was hard work. By creatively using buckwheat, we're bringing incremental sales to the 4 large and growing markets worth a collective $258 billion. The healthy snacks, superfoods, gluten-free, and granola markets. We expect to do almost $1.9 million in sales this year in 4 channels, but primarily driven by our Cluster Buck Superfood Granola Bites doing the most growth. The Cluster Buck 6-ounce bags are in about 750 retail doors, turning well in both natural and conventional, such as Whole Foods Midwest and H-E-B, and we're increasing placement with both of those accounts in Q4 of this year. Oh yeah, but just with our current placements and velocities alone, we will hit over $1.2 million in retail sales this year. The recently launched single-serve Cluster Bucks became the #1 best-selling breakfast snack on Snack Magic and are already coded in the food service distributor Vistar, so we can reach our target customer where she is, from coffee shops to gyms to juice shops. On e-com, we also sell our Lil Bucks regenerative organic superfood toppers, which are actually making a splash in the food service scene, being sold in bulk. This is a small part of our business for now, but can grow into a cash flow positive channel that'll help fund the consumer brand side of the business, while further familiarizing the American consumer with buckwheat via brands they already trust, like Sweetgreen, True Food Kitchen, and Ben & Jerry's, who are all actively R&Ding with Lil Bucks. Since 2018, we've managed to grow despite all the macro issues, 2 manufacturing and 2 3PLs closing down, and some first-time founder mistakes. 3 big reasons keep us going. First, the unbelievable traction we've had when we actually have product. Second is how much our unique products mean to our customers. And third is that this mission is just too important to execute. I grew Lil Bucks exactly to the inflection point I envisioned when I started this company. I built the first regenerative organic buckwheat supply chain with direct relationships to the farmers I set out to support. I created buckwheat products permeating every channel I envisioned for this super seed when I started this. All right. The US market is primed to fall in love with buckwheat, and especially with buyers' emphasis on regenerative, for once, we're in the right place at the right time. Based on our weekly cash flow, you'll be proud, weekly cash flow needs to execute a plan to become cash flow positive. In the second half of 2024, we estimate we need $1.4 million, which we're looking to do in a combination of debt and equity. I'm so honored to present our business to you, and I hope that you'll agree. Little bucks for the big bucks.
Okay.
If it's possible to bring up the other panelists that are online on the screen.
They're on these, Andy.
All right, well, they're not on here. All right, go ahead, Nancy.
We have a mic, guys. Talk, just, no, talk into the mic.
I just wanted to explore a bit about regenerative organic. I'm not sure I'm seeing it on the packaging. What does it mean to your consumers and to your retailers?
Right, so the cluster bucks, the packaging doesn't have the regenerative organic on it. And it's actually our Lil Bucks product line, which is mostly the e-commerce and food service line, also on Thrive Market, that is gonna have the regenerative organic label on the front of the pouch. The Cluster Bucks product line is currently about 64% regenerative organic certified ingredients. And in the next 6 months will be between 71 and 80% regenerative organic certified, depending on the flavor. We're actually talking with Whole Foods Market about doing an exclusive ROC certified Cluster Buck SKU along with our core SKUs. And the idea with that is having them support our brand, not only to create an opportunity for one SKU and get the branding out there, because we do have the most, Cluster Bucks will be about 87% of our revenue this year. So getting this label in front of customers as much as possible is very important. And then also by having that large market share with Whole Foods, the hope is that the biggest thing for us is the pumpkin seeds. It's been really hard to find regenerative, but we have a few things in the works. I'm a psycho looking for this kind of stuff. So I'm like, Whole Foods, if you give us the opportunity, we get that volume up. I think we'll be able to do that in a year.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about your retail velocities?
Yeah, so in natural, we're turning at about 3.1 units per SKU per store per week. And in conventional, we're doing about 1.7 units per SKU per store per week. For this year, again, I said we were in about 750 retailers, and we're gonna really double down on the natural channel. Obviously, that's a great place to start for this type of product. And then B, we did a bit of testing in the past year on Cluster Bucks. Is it more successful turning in granola or functional snacks? And it's more successful in functional snacks. And we really believe we can win not only with this product line in the category, but then with future product lines already being in that category, already having relationships with the buyers, being able to build out a really strong brand presence in the healthy snack set.
Quick follow-up. You said better in functional snacks. Is that a shelving decision?
You like
Or
placement in the store?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And what's your price point there?
$6.99.
$6.99. Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about how you compete head to head with regular granola?
Yeah, so the Lil Buck Sprouted Buckwheat Crunch, which is kind of a really good food service offering. I really struggled with it for the longest time because that was our original product line. That's the ode to what I had in Australia. Yeah, those little super seeds, you can come try them. You should have them on the gelato later. That would actually be really amazing. But what we were seeing actually, we share the exact same target audience as Purely Elizabeth, who's obviously dominating that channel as one of the top natural granolas. But B, we were seeing our customers using Lil Buck seeds with Purely Elizabeth or whatever granola, because it's adding this different crunch and different health benefits than you're getting from a typical granola. So it can be used. Some people completely replace it. I completely replace granola in general with the seeds, but it can also be used in tandem. And then, so it's really bringing incremental sales. So on the food service side of things, we're telling restaurants, hey, we don't have this totally figured out, but hey, this is the ideas. charge an extra $1 as a topper for this topper on your like smoothies or whatever, and you'll make an extra 50% margin on this menu offering, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you talked a lot about making Americans fall in love with buckwheat. On at least 4 of the 5 products we have in front of us, it only has, buckwheat little teeny in the corner. So as you articulate the one reason, if you can only have one, what's the one reason?
So actually that was intentional. It used to say buckwheat granola clusters really big on front of the pack. We even actually just retested this with 3,000 people in a consumer audience in our target customer group. And I thought maybe buckwheats had such a big groundswell in the last year. There's more brands coming out. Simple Mills is using it as an ingredient. That's really exciting. But consumers still don't know what buckwheat is. They're afraid of it. So really what we found is like, they don't even know it's healthy. Gluten-free people don't know that it's actually gluten-free. People think it's a wheat, it's a fruit seed. There's a lot of education still. And people might associate it with like really dense, gross buckwheat pancakes that like your grandma made you eat when you were little. So what we do is draw them in with this bright, beautiful, fun brand, superfood granola bites, yum. And then it's like, oh, why is this different? Because of buckwheat. And you're not going to get that crunch or nutrition anywhere else.
So getting some questions about gross margins. One is that there's some fluctuation in your projections and ups and downs in the gross margins, and just thinking about your channel choices, if you, where you're getting the better margins and how that's playing into your growth strategy.
Yeah, so actually in retail and food service, we're getting between 32 and 35% gross margins. Actually, year to date, we've done 39% total with support from our website. Amazon's margins we're actually kind of relooking at. We have really strong margins with the Lil Bucks line, and we've been able to get that profitable after ads, but the Cluster Bucks line taking off, we're still figuring out, is that the best play for higher margins? And then actually in the projections, if you read through our deck before, they go down a bit. We need to up, they kind of do go up and down a little. So part of that that's throwing it off is a deal with American Airlines in October. But that's actually really more like a subsidized sampling opportunity. So we're getting paid to do marketing because we are obviously talking about like some of these national retailers, and like the world is crumbling and there's not a ton of money to go around. So we can't just like blast out marketing dollars like willy-nilly. So what's a way that we can get national marketing and placement, but kind of get it paid for? And obviously airlines have really, really low margins. So then all of a sudden our margin goes from like 38% to 29% because of this American Airlines deal. But really, we're going to take that out of the forecasting and kind of make that a separate line in marketing.
If you don't mind, can we just follow up for the benefit of the group that doesn't have the pre-reading? Can you give a quick snapshot of how big you are, how much money you're raising, how far that gets you from a cash standpoint, and what the next couple of years look like, really briefly? Right on. So we've done $474,000 in trailing 12 months, and then year to date $206,000 with a 39% margin. EBITDA's negative $70K for this year. We're raising that $1.4 million in a combination of debt and equity. $400,000 of that is really about kind of being able to manage the peaks and valleys of the production. And then we believe that $1 million in growth capital can get us to Q4 of 2024, where right now the plan we're working on executing is I've learned so much in the past 5 years, but being really, really strict about where we're actually making money in channels so that we can become a cash flow positive business in Q4 of 2024. And then at that point, who knows what's happening in the world. So having options. And it seems like you're going to be 1.9-ish. Right. And what do you think your run rate will be at that point where you're break even? Run rate, like in terms of Q4 of next year times 4 kind of thing? Oh, okay. It'll be about 2.5 million. 2.5. So a lot of that is happening with some of these launches happening in Q4.
First of all, congratulations. That's really terrific to
Thank
see your
you.
success there. I've got another question about supply chain.
Mhm.
So both in terms of how you scale your existing supply chain, regenerative, organic, buckwheat, but also if you're successful in getting people to embrace buckwheat, there'll be others crowding in, and how do you protect that?
Right. So the first thing is, how are we able to scale our regenerative buckwheat supply chain? And I've been really fortunate to, I've been like a psychopath in the background working on this for years, trying to find the first regenerative farming partner to do this with. And already we're about to max out their acreage this year. We're doing 350 acres of regenerative buckwheat with them. And then we're already talking to a couple other ROC farms, and we're doing test plants with them, about 50 acres each. This year, we're pretty confident, since they're in similar area, like one's in Wisconsin, another one's in Minnesota, that it'll be successful, and buckwheat is such a resilient crop.
Are you securing those relationships with forward contracts or agreements or?
Yeah, we have contracts with them. And actually, I've been doing this on my own for a while, but kind of fortuitously, if you've heard of Mad Agriculture, they're this organization supporting regenerative. They're awesome. So I actually met them through our first year with A-Frame Farm. They're our first regenerative organic farmer. We didn't even
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. Yeah. We didn't even have a contract. We just like handshake deal. Like, we're going to get matching buckwheat tattoos. Mad Ag came in to help put that together, and they're helping us grow our supply chain.
All right, Gary gave us the 1 minute warning, so we'll do some really rapid fire. A question about a lot of categories: toppings, granolas, seasonings. How are you thinking about managing that, and how many co-packers?
So right now we have those 3 product lines, obviously with Cluster Bucks being the biggest one. They're in 3 different co-packers, but we're actually moving all of our production to one, where they're even on top of that able to do all of our sprouting end to end, and that's in Wisconsin. So that's where we already make our Cluster Bucks, but then moving since that's closer to where we're milling and growing the buckwheat, centralizing it there. And then what was the second part of that question?
And probably the last question.
Focus, you're in 3 sort of spaces. What's the big one, and what's the future?
Right. The big one is functional snacks, healthy snacks. We think that obviously we have early traction with Cluster Bucks in that set, and I'm really ADHD and have 100,000 ideas for buckwheat, but focusing in the snack set, I think, is where there's a huge opportunity to disrupt and be a #1 brand in that category.
Okay. All right, thank you, panelists. So, no, you're not done. You're not done. She's not done yet. So Emily now has 3 minutes. You've gotten a ton of questions. Any last things you want to make? Anything last things you want to say to the investors before we hear from them? Right, stop.
Cool. I actually want to touch on one more thing with the Mad Agriculture partnership. So we're one of 2 brands, the other brand being Purely Elizabeth, that we're doing a pilot program with them. So they're already doing a bunch of measurements of soil health and biodiversity on A-Frame Farm, where we're doing the most amount of our growing right now. And so we're measuring not only soil health, but the nutrition in buckwheat, and hopefully coming up with a white paper and a case study of growing buckwheat on regenerative farms. Like, here's the actual data of how it's impacted soil health. And also, we believe that it will show that the buckwheat grown on regenerative farms actually has more nutrition than conventionally farmed buckwheat. And most of the buckwheat consumed in the US actually comes from China. So I think we'll be able to make a really great case study with that, not only for future investing, buying our consumers, but even like maybe the government give us a subsidy for buckwheat. So I just wanted to touch on that there. And then, I just wanted to thank you all so much. This has been an incredible opportunity. And over the past 5 years, like, our growth has not been linear. We've all had like insane challenges. And I think sometimes compared to the caliber of brand and the products we've been making and how much our customers love it, I felt some shame around like, why are we at more revenue yet? Like, so impatient. So thank you, Gary. You're one of my favorite, how I built this episode.
You're doing great. You're doing great. But we're not done with you, so stay right here.
All right.
All right, good. All right, so this is the moment where folks online, and just so folks here know, there's a bunch more investors than you're seeing online, but when they turn their video off, a lot of them are listening, you won't see them. So I'm going to ask, trying to also watch my screen, for a show of hands now, how many would have another meeting with Emily to talk about this? So let's see by a show of hands.
Yay.
Got 1, 2. Oh, sorry, Elliot. Why don't you just yell out names? Go ahead. Nancy, Adam, and David. And online, I have Hallie, and I have Liz, and and Tim Wall put his hand up. So nice work. All
Yay.
right, so let me just take advantage. Adam, why'd your hand go up? And grab a mic from Nancy.
Great job, Emily. So we've had some prior experience in some email correspondence, and I think the thing for me today was just when you mentioned that customer survey, or was it like 3,000 customers?
Yeah.
I'm just always bullish on founders who are willing to listen to the market and to adapt and pivot as needed based off of those kind of like higher level takeaways. I've seen how you've evolved the brand to get it to this point. And I put a lot more faith in founders who are really, really tied into the market. So that was my thing.
Great. Will you hand
Thank
the
you.
mic to David? David, why'd your hand go up?
So there's a lot of sameness in the world, a lot of granolas, a lot of milks, a lot of other things. And I think that you have a unique proposition just in the crop that you're trying to bring out. So when you're a consumer and you're looking at it, there's something different. And I think that that's novel, and I think that's worthy of pursuit.
Great. And Hallie, online, how about why'd your hand go up?
Yeah, well, similar to what's been mentioned so far, but I think it is a really unique proposition, and I love thinking about that. I think it was mentioned kind of just the hierarchy that we see on pack, and I almost love the opportunity of like heroing buckwheat a little bit more, even though the educational lift will be tough, but just knowing that like superfood in a sense has lost a lot of its meaning because that space is so crowded. And I love the opportunity that you have to really own buckwheat and tell those stories of the farm, of the health, of the nutrition and flavor. And I'd also say just checking out the way you communicate your story, like across socials. I love how founder forward you are, and like that you're really showing your personality in this, and that it's striking like a fun note, like these are serious topics and serious impact is being addressed, but you're doing it in like a fun, approachable way. And I always love to see that.
Super. Tim Wall, last one, and then I'm going to ask others whose hands didn't go up. Tim, why'd your hand go up?
Yeah. Hey guys, my hand went up because I actually have a small farm in Vermont. It's a regenerative farm. I've grown buckwheat on my own on the farm, and I've been kind of like working in this sort of regenerative space for about 10 years now. Originally with Kiss the Ground as an early kind of member of that team. So kind of my hand went up for the regenerative side of things, and really to just get to have more of a conversation with you. It's hard to kind of get it all in just this way.
Exactly.
Right.
No, the follow-ups are critical. So Tom, your hand didn't go up. Is there a reason?
Yeah, I thought you did a wonderful job, and my hand did not go up, not because I don't believe in the work you're doing, but I sort of question for myself, is it really an appropriate venture capital type investment? Obviously, when you take venture capital type of dollars versus evergreen dollars, or maybe sometimes more patient money, it could put other challenges on a business in terms of growth expectations. And when you're dealing in somewhat supply chain limited environments like you are, going after the regenerative organic certification, which I wholeheartedly believe in, I wonder, is it right for a VC type investment, or should it be a different type of investment? But I believe in the work you're doing. So, yeah.
Okay. I got time for one last comment from anyone whose hand didn't or did go up. If anyone wants to, here's right here.
Great job. I'll also just call out your rally cry being the Quaker Oats of buckwheat is awesome.
Oh,
so
thank you,
keep at that, and your passion. I agree with all the comments. For me, it's just a risk profile at this stage. So for me, I would like to see more advancement. I see historic about a 14% gross margin, conventional units per store per week, a little light, alternative snacks, very heavy competition. So I think you have a lot to come, but I would agree. I think you could overcome it, and I would be an investor in the future when I saw you overcame that.
Super. Congratulations. That's a really nice return. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you. Thank you
Emily.
so much.
And Emily.